Hi, I'm Russ Weninger. I'm a lawyer at Weninger John. Today I want to talk about whether or not your kids should go to your parents in the event of your death. When choosing guardians for their kids and their wills, people often think of their parents. And that's perfectly natural. After all, your parents raised you, and assuming they did a decent job, it would make sense for you to consider them as possible candidates as guardians of your children. However, think about this. Your parents raised you when they were young, and I'm assuming that they're no longer young. They're likely at least middle-aged. If a parent is in their early 50s, that's one thing. But if a parent is in their 60s or 70s, raising a child is probably not how they envision spending their remaining years. Will they do it if they have to? Almost certainly. But is it an ideal arrangement for your parents or for your kids? In most cases, probably not. If you're like me, you probably went through a point in your life when you thought your parents were out of touch. And your parents almost certainly thought, at least at some point, that you were so much worse than they were as children. And that sort of tension is natural. It's a consequence of negotiating the twists and turns of life with someone of another generation. But what happens when it's not just a difference of one generation, but of two? Also keep in mind that raising a child doesn't stop once the child reaches the magical age of 18. At least that's the age of majority here in Alberta. The child doesn't automatically become a self-sufficient, experienced, and perfectly rational adult who no longer needs parental figures in their life. If you're leaving your toddler to your 60-something-year-old parents, there's a very good chance that if something happens to you and your spouse, by your child's early 20s, he or she will have been orphaned twice. First by losing mom and dad, and then by losing grandma and grandpa. For these reasons, I'm a firm believer in first considering siblings, or in-law siblings, as possible guardians. And only looking to parents if your siblings simply aren't appropriate choices. Sometimes people are overly critical of their siblings. You may have fought as kids, and you may have competed for your parents' affection. And yes, your siblings likely haven't figured it all out. They likely aren't perfect in every way. They might have massive mortgages and student loans and so-so jobs. But they aren't senior citizens. Your kids won't have to forego university to stay at home and change your siblings' adult diapers. Now, of course, if your brother or sister cooks meth for a living and has been in and out of jail, maybe they aren't the best choice for raising your children. I'm not suggesting that you should reject your parents out of hand as possible guardians, nor am I suggesting that a sibling should definitely be top of the list. Just give it some thought before picking your mom and dad to raise your kids. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Thank you for watching.